So thank you everybody for coming today. We'll get started. So we get to talk about one of the best things I think is saving money. So what my goal today is to help just give you at least one thing that you could take home today that would save you some money, okay? So that's my goal, is that and then also so you're saving money and eating healthier too. Because I know, for instance, like ramen noodles, right? They're inexpensive, but I want to try to show you how you can choose really healthy foods and still do it on a limited budget. All right, so here we have today, let me just make sure I can click. So my name is Andrea Nicolai, and I work for the University of Florida in the Extension in Polk County, and I teach food and nutrition classes all around Polk County. So now I've been doing some virtually, but usually just I've been previously was in person all around the county. And I'm a registered dietitian and just love learning about food and talking about food and how it can help us. So if you haven't used Zoom before and you're on right now, you can kind of, some ways to make it work. On the bottom of the screen, there's the controls usually. And if you hover over the bottom, usually they will show up if they're not there. And then there's that ... and that says more, and that's where you can find the chat box. So if you have questions or comments or anything like that, that would be where you'd type them. And so the chat box, you can either send it, you can specify if you'd like to send it to everybody or just to me if you would like. All right, and then I have excuse me, I have an evaluation that I'm gonna send following the webinar. So just having your update and your feedback is really appreciated, just so that I can see like what things you did learn and which ones weren't covered very well. So then I can help people better save even more money in the future. So my objectives today are to explain the MyPlate and tips for a healthy diet. So then you know what you're looking for in the store, right? Because you might be able to save money other ways, but I want you to do it the healthful way. And so then discuss meal plannings and shopping lists when going grocery shopping. So this sounds less fun, but I'm gonna show you how it can be not so bad. And then identify ways to save money using different options, and then tips for before and during after grocery shopping. So we're gonna cover a lot, but it's gonna be kind of like trying to just get home the same messages to you multiple ways, so that I'm hoping they will sink in better. And Pat, she just typed in the chat box that she can't maybe hear us still. If you want to try calling in on a separate line, you could do that just using the call-in number, because then you could watch it on the screen and then call in at the same time. Okay, she says she's got it. Good deal. So just if you guys have access to the chat box, I want you to type in right now what you would do if I gave you $1,500. So if you can just think about it a second, just type something, shop. So Denise, shop for what? So save it, that's, yeah, especially now, right? Pay off bills. So $1,500, you guys. So good. Okay, so a lot of bills and saving, yeah, geez, you guys, that's good. Save it and budget monthly for food, woohoo! So maybe pay some bills early. Yeah, plan for Christmas, no joke. Sneak it away for a couple of days. You guys, that's, yeah, invest it. There's an idea. Vacation, yeah, let's be honest. Okay, so just there's a lot of good things we could do with $1,500. I have to tell you guys, the average family of 4 throws away $1,500 worth of food every year. So if, say you're just like, well, I'm not a family of 4, you know, that if you're a family of 2, that's still $750 that you throw away every year on average with food. So that's like an average of 25% of everything you buy, you throw away, like on average. So I always use this, just it helps me think, but you know, it would be me going into Walmart, right, and buying 4 boxes of Cheerios, and then on the way out of the store, I throw one in the trash can. And so it's just like you throw away that much in food. And you know, it's higher in some categories than others, but we throw away about 19% of our vegetables, 14% of the fruit. And so just I guess being aware of this can really help you, because that right there, you know, if we could reduce that, that would save you a lot of money. So why should we eat healthy? So here's our reasons, right? So preventing illness and disease. And so in Polk County, so that's where I live and work, heart disease is #1 cause of death, cancer, chronic lower respiratory disease, and then stroke. So they're all related to what we eat. So that's why I want you guys to be eating healthy foods, and then also be able to save money too, because you want to be able to do that, right? And this can help you. And, you know, say you're like, I don't care if I get any of those diseases, whatever, but the idea is that when you are alive, you will feel better. You know, like you'll have more years in your life where you'll be able to walk and run and hold your grandkids, or, you know, play outside or go to the beach. I just don't want you sick for a long time, you know, living with any of the diseases. So trying to have good years, nourishment for your body. And then also, if you have kids, you know, it helps them grow the best. So that's why we should eat healthy. So here's just a reminder of how you could eat healthy. Would be to try to aim for half of your plate fruits and vegetables. So if you guys have been to my classes, I kind of, you know, really try to stress that, but just trying to look at your plate, you know, for lunch today, or what you had, think about what you had for lunch if you've eaten it already. You know, was it half fruits and vegetables? So that goal is to get at least some in there. Every meal or snack, have at least one fruit or vegetable. All right. So that will help you a ton. And so just eating more foods that come from plants, that will save you money. And it's also, we know, very good for us. So it's like a double goodness. So vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds, beans, right? Whole grains, and then liquid oils instead of solid fats. So these things I talk about more in other classes, but now I'm going to talk to you about how to do them and save the money, right? So just healthy challenge, you guys. Just if you, I know it's hard to see with the pictures, but the one on the left versus the one on the right, which one do you guys think is healthier option if you had to choose between those two in the store? So she says the left. Some people say the right. So maybe you could put in why you think, this is a trick. So why do you say like left or right? For those of you who say left. So Pat says 100% juice. How much added sugar? Ooh, good. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so for this one, it would be the right one because it's 100% juice, okay? So when you're going into the stores, if you're buying like Orangeade or things like that, that will, you know, it's kind of like wasted calories. You know, you're better off spending your money towards something else. So this one, it would just, I would look at those back of that nutrition label there, and like that one, somebody was saying, you know, look for added sugars, because that's what we don't want. We want you want the solid, you know, if it has sugar, we want it's coming from fruit or somewhere like that. Okay, so a healthy challenge then here. Which one do you guys think is healthier option, left or right? Yes, you guys got it. So the left one, right? And then if you're just, that's a leaner option. It has a lot of good, you know, if it does have fat, some of the fish does have some good fat for us, but it's not the same kind of the fat that's in the fatty meats. So just, and then if you were to choose the one on the right, say you really want a steak someday, be way better for you to choose the one with less of the white in there, just because that's fat, that white part is saturated fat, and we know that's bad for our heart. So if you could cut that off before you cook it, that would be great too. So just one more here. I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of hard, but left or right on this one? Yeah, so you guys are right. It's the one on the right. So just trying to choose the baked chicken when you can, and taking off the skin, because the skin is where that saturated fat is. And so just, you know, I got my haircut yesterday and they were talking about chicken wings, but just, you know, fun fact, you know, one chicken wing has 88% of our daily value of saturated fat. So just one. So I guess when we can, you know, choose the baked chicken most of the time, and when you need a splurge, that's when to do the chicken wings. So why we're here today is how can we do all this then and save money. You're like, how can I eat that baked fish all the time? You know what I mean? And still save money. Or how can I eat fruits and vegetables and save money? So here's the tip, right? Plan, shop, and save. So you plan, then you go shopping, and you're gonna save money, okay? So that sounds fun, right? We can do this. So before you go grocery shopping, know your budget. I have a friend, I don't even know, she might be on the call now, but she loves Okinawa sweet potatoes. There are Okinawas in Japan, and the sweet potato it's like a purple on the inside, bright purple, and it tastes sweet, and they're really good, right? And so for her, she can't find them in the United States, so she has them shipped. And so just, I wouldn't be able to do that regularly just because it does cost a lot. So knowing my budget right away, and knowing what I have to spend, that is key. So you want to spend within your budget. So then you plan your meals. Now this sounds bad, sounds boring and troublesome, but even if you can just do one meal or one thing, it will save you a lot of money, because it'll save you money from, you're going to waste less food because you're going to plan for it, and I'll show you how. And then less trips to the store too. You know how you're thinking, what are we going to have? Okay, let's have chicken. So you run to the store and get chicken. But if you had planned for it, you're going to have everything already there for you, and less stress because you know the plan. So we can only make so many decisions in one day. Like by the end of the day, our brain is tired of making decisions. So that's why sometimes we resort to things that are habits. So if you can start out with a plan, then you won't have to make a decision, and you're just like, we're having spaghetti tonight. I have this planned. This is what we're doing. We're having spaghetti and broccoli. And so that will help you a lot. And then planning to use the leftovers will save a lot of money too. And so just some ideas, there's a whole class you could do on this, but how to plan. But just, you could use theme nights if you have trouble figuring out, or family favorites. Say you guys love spaghetti. So say maybe every week you have spaghetti, and that's great. Just try to make it healthfully. Or theme nights, Monday, Tuesday's taco night. And you just always do that. I have a coworker, she has Tuesday taco night every week, and then she doesn't have to think about it. She buys good things for her tacos that will nourish her family, and then she's off. And so she uses up stuff that's in her fridge, like vegetables and stuff, to put in those tacos with the meat. And so she's, just one way you can do it, I guess. All right. So then looking at that, you're making a list now of what you need for that plan that you have. So it's kind of like you can start out just by planning Mondays, even if you just kind of have a idea in your head for Monday, and you can try for the next days, but you don't have to sit down for hours and do this, just trying to think of, like the common, what I read with research is that we tend to eat many of the same meals. Like a family has a typical of 8 staple meals that they kind of rotate. So if you guys can think about your family favorites, and then every once in a while just throw in a new recipe, that will help you get a plan. And so once you have the plan, then you can make the list based on what you ran out of already. So also look on what's on sale, and that can help you with new recipes. So say you're wanting to try salmon, and maybe the week to try it would be the week that it's on sale. So check those weekly ads, and then bring coupons or online apps some people have that can really do that. And don't go shopping when you're hungry. So I know, this has happened to me, and maybe you too, but you guys smell the bread baking and things like that when you're hungry. And then, I don't know, the other one is just, you tend to crave sugary things when you're hungry, just because it's quick energy. So that's why when you're walking around the store hungry, maybe Cocoa Pebbles will look a lot better than the Cheerios. So I want you to choose the Cheerios, so maybe you make better decisions if you're less hungry. Okay, so Irma Bombeck said, the odds of going to a store for a loaf of bread and coming out only with a loaf of bread are 3 billion to 1. So you know how you get to the store and then you're like, ooh, I should try this, and maybe I need more fruits and vegetables at my house, and then you throw those in too. So the idea would be to stick to your list, right? If you stick to the list, this will help save you a lot of money because you don't end up buying extra foods that you didn't really need, or, you know, things that just look good, but they're not really on sale. So the idea would be to stick to your list. And then if you want, you know, look for those other things in for sales later. So just reminders then, you know, planning your meals, it'll save you time and money. So that's why it's your advantage. And then keep in mind the days that you're busier or have less time. And just like somebody in the chat, she was saying she freezes stuff, and that is perfect. You know, just like sometimes chicken's on sale, but for me, I don't have a huge family. So if I buy, you know, a family pack of chicken, you know, maybe I could divide it out into portions so that I could just thaw out, you know, a little bit at a time and stick it in the freezer when it's on sale. And then I'll be ready to go when I need it for, you know, Taco Tuesday, right? And then, you know, using what's in season too. You know, some people, I guess I hear a lot, you know, it's really hard to buy fruits and vegetables on a budget. You're like, you know, like we were talking about, I guess ramen is a lot cheaper. And so just, if you buy in season, not only will it taste the best, but it has the most nutrients for you, and it's lower in prices. So, you know, strawberries, right? When they're in season, you know, you can buy the pack for 99 cents. I've seen them 2 for $1, those packs sometimes, just because we're right in that strawberry season and we just need to move them. And so they taste the best. You know, that is the time to eat all the strawberries you want and then freeze them if you would like to preserve them. But just, you know, buying different things like watermelon in, you know, like January is probably not going to taste the best, and it's going to cost you, you know, $8 for the little watermelon. So just buying in season can save a lot, and also thinking about canned and frozen, and we'll talk more of that too, but just think about those can work. So just like she said again, you know, freezing leftovers. So you know how you have a meal and then you know, you put the leftovers in a container. Think about to yourself, you know, do you intend to eat those? Like, are you probably going to eat them? And if you're not, stick them in the freezer right away, because then when you're craving that meal again, it'll be like you will love just having that leftover in the freezer. And so just when you just need something quick, that would be great. Or what you can do with the leftovers is, you know, add a sauce or add something different to give it more flavor. Like you can see the picture on the side. So you take grilled chicken, right? So grilled chicken is kind of an easy one, but grilled chicken, first day you have grilled chicken, you have leftover grilled chicken, you might not want grilled chicken again on Tuesday, so maybe you have chicken tacos on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, you know, you still have some chicken left, and you're like, I'm probably gonna have to use this or freeze this. Then maybe you could make like a chicken broccoli casserole, or put it in, you know, soup or something like that, or make chicken salad sandwiches. Just trying to think about the ways to use them, and so that you don't have to end up throwing it away. You know, when it starts, like, you're like, I probably shouldn't be eating that. And having it for lunch the next day, that'll save you from going out to eat. So double whammy there. Not only are you using that food that you might have thrown away, but you're saving money because you're not eating out. And then try to remember when you go to the store, buy only the amount that you can use before it spoils. So, you know, the bag of, you know, 5-pound bag of apples is usually cheaper maybe than buying individual ones. But if they're going to be in your fridge for like a really, 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 really long time, apples do last a while. But I guess the idea would be to buy things, you know, based on what you could use. And maybe you could share with neighbors, right? So that's an idea. So keeping in mind then, remember to rotate foods. So if you work at a restaurant, you might know about this. It's like first in, first out. So the idea would be the first stuff that gets put in there, that's like the first stuff you're going to use. You don't like, if you have too big, you know, you buy another container of chicken salad, you don't like, you put the old one in front of the new one, okay? Because then you're going to use, you know, making sure to rotate it out. And it's keeping you aware of what you have too. And then, you know, there's always that, what's in the back of the fridge anyway? That right there could save you a lot of money figuring that out. So making your next grocery list based on what you have with those leftovers can really help. So I gotta tell you guys, when you make that list for the store, that is one of the key things. First thing you do before you go to the store is open that fridge and open your cupboards and see what you need to use up. Like, see what's in the fridge right now. Like, if you have mashed potatoes, and you're just saying, you know, your family's just sick of having sides of mashed potatoes, maybe you can then buy like some frozen vegetables and a little bit of lean ground beef. You could make like a shepherd's pie or like a layered casserole and use up those potatoes on the top. But maybe you need to get those vegetables. So then you making a list based on how you could use up those leftovers can really help. But Edward says rotation is salvation. I like that. I might use that in my classes. Gonna have to come. Okay, so just like an idea here, I guess fruit is nice because you can always freeze it just without boiling it, nothing. You just stick it in the freezer. And then when you want it for baked goods, like you can put it in waffles or pancakes instead of sugar, or put it on pancakes. But here you can make apple nachos. If you see some apples that need to be used, you know, make that for your kids and drizzle some peanut butter on there. Then there's the fruit pizza idea. So just some ideas for you guys. And then here's some easy recipes using staples. So this could also be a whole nother class, but just how to get some staples on hand. But these things can really work to just fill in where you didn't have a plan, or where the plan goes awry. You know, you thought you were having Taco Tuesday, but then nobody feels like tacos, and you just had tacos for lunch and you had breakfast tacos. So you want to have something different. So then these things, like, you know, if you just have some noodles and a jar of spaghetti sauce and maybe some frozen broccoli in your freezer, that can make you a really healthy meal, right? And so that would be a last minute thing. You guys don't feel like tacos, but you can have that. And here are just some other ideas. So just if you have dry beans or a can of beans in your cupboard and you have some rice, you could just mix them together and that could be your dinner that night. And salmon tuna patties, using the canned one, you just mix an egg with a little bit of breadcrumbs and you have a meal there. So just thinking about ways maybe you could use things you have on hand just to make the meal instead of getting takeout. So that would save you a lot of money too. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I have trouble thinking of these meals. You know, when you're hungry and you're just like, everybody's like, what are we having for dinner? Then you don't feel like, you know, trying to brainstorm what it is. So I actually have a little list, and somebody else told me to do this, so I know other people do it too, but just last minute meal ideas. So they have like 5 things written down. So whenever people are like, you know, this is not going to work tonight, it's just something fast that they can remember they can always have. You know, maybe breakfast for dinner. They can always just, they know how to do that. You just put some fruit on the table, you put some eggs, you know, maybe you have some whole grain toast, things like that, what I'm trying to say. So it's just some more budget friendly tips then. One thing that can really help is using less meat, because meat is really expensive, right? Usually. So substituting with another protein like beans can really help. So I'm just going to keep talking about tacos this entire presentation. But just like if you have ground beef tacos, right? So say you usually use a pound of ground beef. What if you used ½ pound of ground beef, saved the other half, and used a can of beans instead? Now you could mash up those beans. You could use black beans, kidney beans. You could use pinto beans. You know, you could make them like smash them and make them refried beans. But just like if you could mix them in there with the meat, you know, people, it's a way to stretch that meat to make it cheaper and healthier for you, because beans have a lot of fiber and nutrients that the meat doesn't have. Both have protein, and meat does have, you know, some things like iron and a lot of B12, but it's, you know, mixing it up and stretching it, there's nothing wrong with that, and getting some good hearty protein. So with the beans, and you can do that with like stews and casseroles, because they'll also stretch the meat, you know, because if you're having just a piece of grilled chicken, everybody of getting a piece of grilled chicken is going to, you know, you're going to need more pieces of grilled chicken than if you cut that chicken up and then put it in a casserole with some vegetables and some, you know, quinoa or something like that. And then remembering to, you know, if you can skip that aisle with the Oreos and the, you know, Cheetos in there, just skipping that aisle can save you a lot of money. And then using, skipping the pre-made meals. So if you can do it yourself, that can also save you money. And then using a reusable water bottle. You know, water is free. If you can like the taste of your tap water, that is a great option. That'll save you a lot of money. And then avoiding the excess soda, energy drinks, coffee drinks. People can save a lot of money that way too. And just here's one slide on just some inexpensive lean proteins. So if you want to get, you know, like you're like, I need protein. And so just at different meals and things like that, just remember that beans have a lot of protein. Eggs have great. They're like the #1 most absorbable protein. And then peanut butter also. It's a great option. You know, peanut butter and jelly, it's okay. Greek yogurt it's really high in protein, and you can get that tub versus the individual, right? Would save you money if you can do that. And then canned tuna or salmon to get your fish. Also, the whole chicken, usually a lot cheaper than buying it individually. And then just like when you get home, portion it out. So yeah, just thinking about that slide again, but just, you know, a pound of meat is, you know, whatever, you know, depends on what kind you get, but could be like anywhere from $1.50 a pound to $4.99 to I've seen some bison for, you know, $8.99 a pound. So just, and a pound of beans is, you know, less than $1. So just trying to think about, you know, you could really save a lot of money that way. So this is a flyer from Aldi, and I've noticed more grocery stores are doing the same thing. I saw it in Winn-Dixie and Harvey also, just that, you know, they have the weeks planned out for you. So they obviously want you to buy all their things, but it's like you could kind of plan this based on what you have and, you know, get different ideas from there and maybe choose, you know, one of them. And some of them are healthy, some of them aren't. So just remember to make sure, you know, half fruits and vegetables. And I love Aldi too. You know, sometimes they have great deals on the fruits and vegetables, which is really helpful. How much do you need then? So just when you're making that list, just what we talked about, you know, you might buy more than what you need just and portion it out and put it in the fridge like you guys were talking about, or substitute it with a different protein like beans, less costly. And then just remember, look and see what you already have. And so if you don't, you know, beans are great, but you probably don't need, you know, 80 cans of beans. And then at the grocery store, then just some key things to remember would be to compare the prices. So I'm sure you might have heard this before, but I'm reminding you now, if you guys buy the store brands, it can save you a lot of money, and they're often made by the same manufacturer. I would say there are some things that have patents on them, and they do have a slightly different taste. But if you're okay with the taste of the store brands, those are usually cheaper and made by the same company. I know I have a friend who works at Kraft, right? And I used to work with Del Monte, and we would, you know, do private label things at the Del Monte factory, you know, using the green beans. And, you know, you just do these different things, you know. I guess it's interesting, things like Cheerios that actually, I could just talk about these things, but just in overall, just buying the store brand, they're usually delicious and just as nutritious, and there's, you know, nothing wrong with them. So trying to do that sometimes can save you a lot of money. Checking the rewards then and watching the register to make sure prices are correct. I know my mom has gotten them multiple times, you know, it doesn't ring up on sale. And if you buy a lot of it and it doesn't ring up on sale, you know, then it could, you know, save you a lot of money just to kind of look when they're ringing it up. And then investing in those, you know, those canned green beans when they're on sale. So they'll probably become on sale around Thanksgiving, right? Because you know how we always have that Thanksgiving green bean sale. So that would be the time to kind of stock up. So maybe, you know, if you're just have a couple cans left now, maybe try to make it until that time, unless you use green beans a lot, because then you're going to need some. And invest in those things and then read the nutrition labels. So just quick question here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Can you guys, if you guys can see the screen, then what I want you to do is click on the poll question then, and what your answer would be. Are you familiar with unit pricing? So if you have access to the computer and you can answer, let me know what you say. So you just click on one or the other. Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, so about 79% or so say they're familiar with unit pricing, 20% a little bit, and then 2 not at all. So let me see, hopefully, I don't know, did the poll go away? Hopefully, that was the goal on that. But just, I wanted to kind of see if you guys already knew about it. So the idea is then, the unit price, if you don't use it very much, it's really fun to use. And sometimes I forget about it, but if you just know about it, it can help you at the store. So what it is, it's the price or cost per how much it is, the quantity. So it's the price per ounces or the cost per ounces. And you can do it yourself by dividing the cost of the item, like $3.95 here, divided by that, divided by how many ounces it is, and then you could get that unit price. But in a lot of stores, they just already did that for you. So they put the, you know how you see the big price there? To the left of it is the unit price. And this can help you compare items of different sizes or different brands. So one of the easiest ways is next time you guys go to the store, go to the rice section, and you can really tell there because you can look at the unit price of like the big bags versus the small bags. You know how they sell those individual little packets, like the 99-cent ones, and then like look at the unit price of there. So you want to choose the unit price with the lowest unit price because that would be the best for you. But you also have to keep in mind then, you know, the rice that you'll probably find is the cheapest would be that 10-pound bag of rice. And, you know, if you're just one person and you don't eat rice that much, that's probably not the rice for you. So maybe, you know, maybe you're going to spend a little bit more. It's interesting. I was in Walmart one time looking at the unit price, and I just, you know, how you can, it's right on the label. So once you look for it, you just see it. But I was looking at the broccoli and I was trying to figure out, you know, should I buy, you know, the 2-pound bag? Is that better deal than the 1-pound bag? And just the unit price of the 1-pound bag was actually cheaper than the 2-pound bag. So I just decided to buy 2 1-pound bags. And so just, you know, sometimes it's not what you think. But another place I love looking at this is with the lettuce. You know how they come in all different sizes and containers, and you're like, should I buy this bagged one that has 10 ounces and buy like 7 bags of that, or should I buy that tub spring mix one? And so just looking at the unit price there can help you figure out if they're about the same price or if they're totally different. So quick quiz here then. Which one do you guys think is the best buy here? So we have the pint, 16 ounces, $1.69, quart, 32 ounces, $2.69, gallon, 128 ounces, and $4.29. So anybody want to guess? It's kind of like, here's our unit price. So try to look at the unit price and figure out what is the lowest one. Yeah, you guys got it. It's the gallon because there's a 0.033, whereas the other one's 0.084. And then the highest one is that one on the far left there, and that's the 0.105. Okay, so we want, the gallon would be the cheapest, but then just remembering, are you going to be able to drink it all? And you can freeze milk, but does change the texture a little bit. So just depends on, you know, can you use it, but also just knowing then what's the better deal. Yeah. Okay, so which is the better buy here? So we have, can you guys see the unit price? One is 0.285 on the left, and then 0.263 on the right. So it depends on, it's my Cheerios example, right? Yeah, you guys are great. So it's a 15 ounce. And then just one more I just wanted to show you. I went into Publix and just took some pictures of the unit price of their carrots. And I know it's a small slide, but just, you know how there's the carrot chips, which are really fun because you can get kids to eat them, right? You call them carrot chips. They're 15.56 is their unit price, whereas those shredded carrots are 26.9. So they're like way, way higher priced if you get them shredded. And then the baby carrots just themselves are 15.56, so that's same as the chips. And then the organic, a 1-pound bag where you're not even doing it, that is 10.56. So it's way cheaper to buy the whole carrot. So the lesson here, and this is usually true, is if you chop it yourself or cut it yourself or, you know, portion it out yourself or wash it yourself, it's usually cheaper. So just you usually pay for convenience. So that's like the bell peppers that are already cut up, right, in the store. You can get those, and those are great if they will help you eat bell peppers. I would say go at them, but they will be more expensive than buying one bell pepper and chopping it up. All right, so yeah, canned and frozen food myths then. Canned foods don't count, you know, processed frozen foods are highly processed. So these are all myths. And so the cool thing is that they go straight from the field to the canning place or to the freezer. So it's not like, you know, the farmer is like, oh, well, this is not selling. I'm going to have to do something with this. I think I'll freeze it and sell it as frozen vegetables. What it's doing is going straight from that field to the store. So sometimes it's actually has more nutrients than the fresh ones, because the fresh ones has been sitting out sometimes, and it can deteriorate over time, the nutrients. So just sometimes, you know, there's nothing wrong with buying frozen or canned. Just look for the canned with no salt added would be great, or low sodium, or rinse it yourself. And then with the frozen, just look for the one without extra salsas or seasonings. So usually, yeah, you can find that pretty well. So just interesting fact, you know how we're in hurricane season? So you can have that healthy plate with just canned foods. So you guys could live healthfully just out of cans if you wanted, okay? So just to kind of be aware of that, you know, maybe have some of those cans on hand of the different food groups, because then when you do run out of meal ideas or something, you know you can still put together something. Just really thinking about having a couple of cans of frozen vegetables. You know, they're the advantages of a couple cans of frozen vegetables. You guys are like, I don't think so. Couple of cans on hand, just the advantages would be they're already chopped, right, and already ready to go. All you do is heat them. And same with like frozen stir fry. All you have to do is heat it. You don't have to cut it. So it can really save time. You know, the difference, the drawback is the texture is sometimes different, and sometimes the taste too. Like my mom, you know, it's true. The fresh blueberries do not taste the same as the frozen ones. So, you know, they're both good. They both have advantages and disadvantages. So you can get tons of different kinds of each. Then at the store, then, true or false, you know, only walk around the perimeter. You hear that sometimes? So I would say, what do you guys think? True or false? Should you only walk around the perimeter of the store? That's the outside. So true and false. She goes, true if you want to be healthy. False. So I would say, you know, it's true, but then you also false. So this is just one of those, I guess, you know, if you don't walk down the aisle, you're not going to find the dried beans, the whole grain rice, you know, the quinoa, nuts are down there. You know, peanut butter is a good option. Just, I think the key would be to, you know, the perimeter can be sometimes healthy, but you're missing out on some of the stuff if you don't go in the aisles. So just trying to avoid the, you know, the snack aisle and the drink aisle. That can save you time in the store because you won't have to go down the aisle. And then just that, and watch the candy at the checkout, but just saving money again, just reminder, chopping it, washing it yourself, and then making it yourself versus like pre-made salad dressings. You know, that can save you a lot of money and be healthier too. You just add oil, vinegar, a little bit of mustard, and a little bit of sweetener. So we can talk about that in a different one too, but okay. And then just after buying the food, so you don't end up, you know, having to throw it all away, just remember the 2-hour rule. So, and you know, in Florida, it gets really hot sometimes. So it decreases to 1 hour if it's over 90 degrees outside. So that's outside of the fridge or outside, you know, like if a gallon of milk or something, or things, perishable meats, you know, we want to get them in the fridge as fast as you can. And then use by and sell by and best by, these are all things that the food company makes up. It's not by law what they put on there. So what this means then is if it says like use by September 15th, it does not necessarily mean that it's bad on September 16th. Okay, it's just that they put that date on there because they guarantee, like, until that day, it's going to have top nutrients and top freshness. And so after that, they're like, we're not as sure. And so it's not that they go bad, you know what I mean? If you've handled them well, So just, I guess, looking at them and then trying to remember to use the older things first. But, you know, it doesn't always mean they're bad when they say like Best Buy or sell by those things. Okay. And then portioning out your foods, you know, freezing the bulk meats. We talked about that. Preparing small sizes for snacks. That can really help, you know, don't eat out of the box, but just portion them out so that you can have snacks ready to go. And then keep in mind, you know, make sure to use the older foods first. So saving money, just here's a quick comparison. If you can't see the slide, it's just talking about different meal ideas, right? And then maybe some other meal ideas. And then it's showing you how you could make a really healthy, delicious meal for less money than something you would just buy at the store. And, you know, sometimes like I have the not so smart option is like a frozen pizza, you know, and things like that. You know, sometimes that can be the go-to, just the more, you know, you just want to choose the smart things more often so that you and your family stay healthy, okay? And so I'm just trying to show you that it can be done. You can have like pasta, ground turkey, salad, you know, and apples and things like that for $6.50 for a family of 4. So that's pretty good. So that's what I have for today. I know there are some comments in the chat box. I'll just see what everybody has. But please, you know, I'll send out the evaluation just so I can see what things you thought maybe I could go over differently. Just so I want to be able to help people, right? Save money. And so if you're like wanted to know more about something, that would be helpful to know. And also check out Eventbrite because I have more classes coming up. I have that snacking and eating out with diabetes one beyond quinoa. So that one is cool. We're talking about, you know how there's quinoa? So there's like a bunch of different whole grains too that you can use. And so we're going to talk about how to find them and what might taste really good. And then growing and cooking, highlighting herbs. So I'll be doing that with a horticulture agent then. So does anybody, you're free to go, I guess, but if anybody has any questions, I'll stay on to answer. And I really appreciate you guys coming today. I know it's Friday, so happy Friday, and thank you for being here. Let me just look and see any questions. For everybody who's still on too, I'll allow you to unmute yourself if you have a question. Otherwise, I'm just looking through. Oh my gosh, Tiffany, I was talking about those potatoes and she says they're really good. Buying on bulk. I love that rotation is salvation. Mary Ellen says, not feeling like tacos never happens. Yeah, quiche is a good way to use up leftovers. You just add some eggs and then throw in whatever vegetables you want.
Thank you.
And Debbie and the group from Haines City, thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm taking the class from my phone. I can't tell, I mean, I can hear you perfectly, but I don't know how I'm showing up as to how I'm showing up on your screen as to who it is.
Oh, you just show up as a phone number then, is what happens.
Okay. Well, I'm with the city of Haines City. I tried to get on with my iPad. It didn't work. And I'm having to use my own personal phone to listen to this.
Thank you for taking your time.
Yeah, it was a good class. But I just wanted to make sure I told Debbie by email that I was on here, but I didn't know how it was showing up on.
Okay, so it'll show up as a phone number. Yeah. So, but if you told her, she's usually pretty on top of it.
Okay.
Trying to see if she's still on the call right now. Let me see here. Yeah, I see Debbie on here, so she probably hears you. So that will be
Okay.
good.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that that they knew I was on here with you. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Stephen, he wrote a question just like on how to eat better since most healthy foods are expensive then. So the idea would be to shop like, in season. So buy the fruits and vegetables when they're in season. And remember to buy frozen and canned when they're on sale because that'll help you a lot. And then stretching the meat, right? Because the meat can be really expensive and then you'll have more money to buy the healthier options. So stretch the meat with things like beans or even chopped vegetables. That can help a lot. Okay, and Debbie, sir, if you're still on, she says she's got you. So
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
thank you. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I appreciate you guys a lot. I hope you have a really good day, and thank you.